G'day everybody, this is Johnny Saville with your executive summary for stock setups for Wednesday, and let's have a look at the S&P 500. As we can see, the S&P has continued upwards as the open range bias has suggested. We are starting to weaken, however, in the move. You can see the candles are condensing in range, volume is dropping off a little bit, so we'll see how this continues throughout the rest of the week. If we have a look at the high yield bonds, you can see that those are basically following the market, so we're not seeing any huge divergences yet. The money flow is kind of going sideways with the upward slight direction, and if we look at stocks above or below their 50-day moving average, you can see that those are also kind of following through with a bit of a sharp upward move, which is more reminiscent of oscillation versus momentum. So I wouldn't expect any massive moves in the market until after the beginning of the new month. I'd expect we still continue to oscillate with some maybe sharp moves up and down on the way through. But basically we've got the American long weekend with a market closure, of course, coming up, and then 2 days of trading on the 30th and 31st. So let's take a look at, obviously, stocks have been performing in both directions. We've seen great moves on the downside, such as CRI, which has been plummeting. One of those shorts we picked out for you a little while ago. It's been going straight down, even while the market goes up. And you can see other stocks going up. So, I mean, it's a bit of again, a market of individual stocks versus a stock market. So tonight we'll give you a little bit of a couple of options. Firstly would be a potential fallen angel type of play, which is called Clearwater Paper Company. As you can see, we've got a nice sharp upward swing on the money flow. The one thing I don't like about it is this one oscillating candle where it broke through the previous lows. That is not ideal, but the curve is still there. So that's the one thing I don't like about it. Otherwise, it looks pretty much good to go. And of course, this was a watch from last night's executive summary. Now, if this breaks 46.63, I would look for a target of 51.43, and I'd be looking for a stop signal around 44.57. And again, the money flow looks pretty good on it. The next is a more of an aggressive type of situation. Again, possible fallen angel, but as well, again, it's aggressive because it's a very low volume stock. So this is kind of more suited for those that want to play the more the punters game, or people that like this type of a setup. It's Polar Power. As you can see on the daily chart, it's had some aggressive move today on a big volume, 363,000 over 53,000 shares yesterday. If you don't like trading those kind of things, ignore what I'm about to say. But for those of you that do, as you can see on the hourly chart, we are starting to make some ground in terms of a breakthrough of this previous candle at $5. It seemed to get some lift out of that, and you can see on the hourly candle, that's where all the volume came from. So it could be interesting as a possible long if it were to break 520 tomorrow. I'd be looking at a stop criteria at 473 and a target of 718. Now, where that target comes from, would be looking at where that 50-day moving average is starting to come into play. So as you can see, it's just about there. So even a little bit before that, so we're looking about 677 as a target. Now, when we go back to the hourly chart, let's confirm that using the volume. You can see that when we broke down through that price before, as you can see, the low here was 687. So as we broke through that particular area, we saw a big jump in the volume happen right there. So that's why we also want to be cautious of it on the upside. So again, I'd look for a break of 520, stop signal around 473, and possible target there of 677. Now, in terms of the short side of the market, just one thing that is noteworthy for tomorrow from the scan is LOW. Now, Lowe's is interesting because in terms of their chart setup, you can see that over a longer period of time, we're dealing with, certainly dealing with a bottom trend line that is going up parallel to the current resistance. So that would suggest a possible channel. Now, these guys report earnings tomorrow, and before the market open. So if this were a non-earnings related play, this would almost look like a perfect short on a technical basis. Money flow is divergent, it is plummeting, and this would suggest that there is a lot of interest in this dropping. Market's opinion, in terms of talking heads, are suggesting they're going to beat earnings, they're going to raise their dividends, all these types of things. So take a look at how this opens tomorrow, because if this has good earnings or what so, and it fades quickly, so if it opens at 86 or anywhere around there and starts to drop, that could be an interesting shorting opportunity. So that would be the first kind of possible entry criteria. If it runs into resistance and fades, if it has okay earnings and there was no real reaction to the earnings before market, and you see it somewhere around 83.23, that would be a short signal. Or if it's poor earnings and you get an opportunity to enter somewhere around, let's have a look here, 81.87. Those would be the three possible scenarios where this could be a good short setup. Now, if they completely blow out and before market they are up above 86, let's have a look, above 86.75, then I'd probably just wait to see what happens. Obviously that means it's broken above the channel and is either going to form a head and shoulders or is going to continue higher, and we'll relook at it later. But again, if we see a rally to 83.20, a passe earnings at 83.23, or we see it break below 81.87 around that price, or if we open at 86 and fade, all three of these could be potential shorting opportunities. I'd be looking at a target of 68.16, and I would be looking at possibly the $82.50 October puts, which are currently $4.56. So there you go, there you have it. And again, if it blasts through that and the earnings are spectacular, we'll put that one to the side. But in any other condition, there could be a shorting opportunity there. So with that, we'll wish you good night and have a very happy trading day tomorrow. Take care.